Hello, welcome. Welcome to class. This is teacher Mr. Loria. Today will be the first of a series of lectures on Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet. I wanted to go with something really obscure. I don't know if you've heard of this play or the author. Um, I'm kidding. I mean, Shakespeare has a well-deserved place. We're going to get to that in a moment. We're going to talk about Intro to Shakespeare. We're going to talk about the prologue. We're going to talk about system of rules. I'm going to do this slightly differently because there's a million ways to understand the plot of Romeo and Juliet. Also, I happen to be teaching this book right now in the school. So this is the first time that I'm actually teaching something and teaching it online. I'm going to use this edition, obviously the Shakespearean text, not the simplified version, because that's what I'm using with my students. I will say when you're reading Shakespeare, get the Folger editions. These are the best ones, the Folger Shakespeare editions. But Intro to Shakespeare, right? Shakespeare is the man, period. The best author to ever exist in the English language. And why is he? Why is the OG, so to speak? I mean, if you think about it, what Newton and Einstein were to science, Shakespeare is that to literature. What, Jordan and Kobe are to basketball, that is Shakespeare to literature. What Oprah and, Ellen DeGeneres are to TV, I guess. I don't really know TV, but where the best of TV is to TV, Shakespeare is that with literature. Why is that? Why does he have a well-deserved spot as the best of the best? I think it's three things. I think it's his ability to capture a diverse range of characters, his ability to talk about complex ideas, and again, I mean, his language is just phenomenal. Right? What do I mean about his ability to capture characters? Juliet is a 14-ish year old girl, right? Shakespeare was not a 14-year-old girl, but he's able to make this character very real. He's able to make a dying king very real. He's able to make a raunchy kind of female or male character very real. I love Hesse on that bookshelf over there. You've got several by Hermann Hesse, and he is fantastic at capturing a portion of people, mainly, that reflect his own experiences. Same with Hemingway, same with any other author. They're able to capture very well a kind of group of people. Shakespeare is able to capture all kinds of people, male, female, gay, straight, doesn't, rich, poor, king, murderer, it doesn't matter. I mean, Shakespeare can adopt their character and make them come alive. Complex ideas, I mean, there's not a subject that Shakespeare didn't touch and that he didn't touch with just gloves of perfection. I mean, he can talk about love, he can talk about murder, he can talk about, tricking people, deception, whatever it is, Shakespeare covers it. And there's no other author, I don't think, that covers the range of subjects that Shakespeare does. And then his ability with words. I mean, you're going to see this in Romeo and Juliet and some of these beautiful, brilliant speeches. And you see it in his other works as well. The man has a way with words that no one else has ever captured since. So, let's get to the text. I'm going to talk about the prologue, and then I'm going to talk about one moment in Act 1, Scene 1 that I think sets up the rest of the play. Notice in the prologue, in modern literature, this is something that gets brought up actually in Kite Runner, right? It talks about don't give away the ending. In Western literature, we hate knowing the ending. Well, in Shakespearean time, it wasn't like that. The prologue tells you the ending right off the bat. Star-crossed lovers, right? They with this ancient grudge, break forth new mutiny, where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. The falling in love of these two characters and their subsequent deaths is now going to be the 2-hour traffic of our stage. So it's just interesting, right? We're like, don't tell us the ending, right? And Shakespeare's audience wanted the ending and wanted to know it's going to take 2 hours before you get started. I just think that's interesting. Again, the plot isn't what makes Shakespeare brilliant. He didn't really invent that many original plots. It's the language. It's not the ending, right? Don't tell me the ending. Well, Romeo and Juliet both die. Sorry, right? Prologue. And that's just an interesting thing to think about. Now, let's look at Act 1, Scene 1, which is cool. It's a fight. The prince comes in, and you got a couple, right? You got Romeo's parents being like, yo, where's Romeo at, right? In the fight, you got Samson and Gregory walking down the street. They see some other, young mofos, and they're like, I think this is cool, right? Before the draw, if you be men, right? Do you bite your thumb at us, or the biting your thumb, which is essentially flicking somebody off back then. Right? Do you bite your thumb at us, sir? I bite my thumb, sir. Right? Do you bite your thumb at us? Right? There's an interesting point where these guys are saying, you know, blah 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 blah. I serve a better man than you, no better, right? Is the law on our side if I say I? Is the law on our side, right? Let's talk about the system of rules in government. What keeps people from running around and chopping people up all the time? Is the law on our side if I say I? Right? So these characters are familiar with the law, right? The legislative branch of things, and that's something that maintains the law. The other two I would say would be honor code systems and then religion. Right? An honor code system, what I mean is if somebody insults your family, now you're obligated to go, right? Show them what's up. These kind of informal laws where we're like, you know, that we do live by, right? And those are contrasted by the laws of society. And so right in the first scene, even, you know, lower kind of foot soldiers in these houses understand that you know, there's a law and then there's what we do within these houses, and those are different. And we have to be kind of aware of when we're in each space. I think that that's setting up, right, the system of rules, the system of government is setting up the ultimate question in this play, which is, you know, head versus heart. To quote Bob Schneider, right, head versus heart is like a bicycle versus a car. Some people are more logical and stoic. Some people are more heart-driven, emotional. You know, and obviously the tale of Romeo and Juliet is like this versus that, right? They know, wait, you know, other households not supposed to fall in love with them, but they feel something else. So, you know, is the law on our side if I say I? No, right? But they still fight. So it's just interesting to think about these things. We'll continue to discuss Romeo and Juliet, but there's lecture 1. Andale pues. If you have any questions, email me, thoughts on life, whatever it is. We'd be in touch. All right.